Hello, welcome YouTube. This is Emperor Dion. Today's topic, we need to talk. We need to have a talk here because there are some people that have been having some misconceptions and some strange ideas about what my monastic philosophy is about. There's a few different people actually. And there's also a few different people who have some strange ideas in general that I don't think are going to be very useful for what we need to do here. As far as the state of the world and things such as they may. And so here's my premise that I'm going to base this video all about. You are not going to be a hero. I know a lot of you guys out here have some main character syndrome nonsense about how you're going to change the world, or you're going to overthrow the government, or you're going to do this and that. Or I'm here to tell you, I'm here to shut that down. The monastic philosophy has nothing to do about fixing the situation. It's about fixing your own personal situation. And maybe somewhere down the road, past your own death, and maybe one of your descendants that's still part of what you created, maybe then they'd be in a position to fix anything. But you personally, let's get this straight right out the gate. You personally are not going to be a hero. And I'm going to explain to you all of the reasons why that is the case. So before we really get into this topic, I'm going to let you guys in on a little something going on around here where I'm currently at. I'm in this apartment, somebody's apartment. I'm just staying here for the time being, waiting for our little pilgrimage that we're on to finally get underway. I'm also going to have to take a little side quest myself to go to another country pretty much, where I'm going to be doing some alleged things. But to give you an idea of what's going on here with me right now, and why this is relevant to this video topic, more importantly, is that, well, one of the guys that was staying in here, he's not my friend. He's one of Solarpunk's friends, but he had a drug overdose, literally while I was asleep. I didn't see nothing, I didn't hear nothing, but I woke up. They told me about it, and this dude, he had a brain hemorrhage from doing too much dope, and there's a pretty good chance he ain't gonna make it. And it's really crazy to me too, because just yesterday this dude was making food and cooking us dinner and smoking and talking and drinking and hanging out with everybody here. One day, or when I went to sleep, he was doing that. By the time I wake up, this dude is about to freaking die. And I say that to tell you and to remind you how quickly you can go from one day just being alive and free and able to do and influence your own destiny, to suddenly one day just straight up not even fucking existing anymore. Oh yeah. Be as it may, human life is fragile. It's very, very fragile. So you have to very much be wary of anything that's going to endanger your own safety. You have to be aware of how fragile human life is and how fragile your own human life is. And this is part of the reason why you're not going to be a hero, because it's too easy to take you out. Okay, if you got any type of delusions of grandeur here, like I know that's rich coming from a guy named Emperor Dion, but I'm telling you, you think you're like the main character of some kind of anime, that you're going to come out here and save the day, or you're going to come out here. No, you're not going to do anything, because first of all, it's too easy if somebody wants to just take you out. Too easy. Another thing is, what are you even up against? You're up against people who have more money than God. Literally. Money is the main driving force of this world, or one of them at least. And the people who have the most money are going to be the people who push forward with their narrative and their goals and their ambitions above you. You're never going to have more money than the people who have the most money. Never. I mean, look, most of you guys that come across this video especially, you guys don't have no money, okay? So that's just like right off rip. Okay, you're not gonna be a hero just off of that fact alone. I mean, unless you want to be like a Tony Stark kind of figure, like you're a super genius. See, I highly doubt anyone really in this community is a super genius, or anybody that's gonna watch this video is a super genius either. So you're not these things. You're not these things. You're woefully underqualified for the task. And what you're up against is corporations, people, individuals that have more money than God. Okay? And let's say even if, okay, let's throw all that out and say, okay, you do get together some type of an organization and you're literally Tony Stark and you've got like a good, nice sized estate of your own where you're pretty well financially off and shit like this, and you're able to fund like some sort of an operation. You're like, hey, I'm going to save the world. Oh, I'm going to overthrow the government. Oh, I'm going to do this and that. Like, okay. Now what are you up against? Well, now you're up against the government. See, like, you're already up against the government as an individual, but I'm putting you in probably the best case scenario with this, where you've got this and that. You've got your little organization. You've got money. You've got presumably some influence in tech to your name. Like, that's best case scenario, right? But the thing is, the government, like even a poor government, like hell, let's not even talk about a Western government. Let's talk about like an African nation, the government of an African nation. Dude, an African nation could get so many people with AKs to come, like, they could send wave upon wave of guys with AKs after you. What are you going to do about that? They got way more people than you could possibly have. Okay, like, I don't even care if you've got like, oh, I've got an Iron Man suit. Boy, I'm going to... No, they've got so many people with AKs they can throw at you. And let it not be that you can actually deal with that situation, because, okay, then they've got propaganda in their country. They've got rallying cries to bring out all these different groups together to further help them. They can call for help from other nations. They could call for any type of thing to come in to deal with you. Like, even a weak government has access to tools, weapons, resources on the scale of which no individual could possibly compete with. Like, this is like, imagine Amazon going to war with like a random African country, like a literal physical, like, Amazon wouldn't, like, no corporation would be able to match the scale of a government without itself becoming a government, which is, like, again, that's the best case scenario you could possibly make for yourself. And you're not going to do that, by the way. But that's the best case scenario that you could ever possibly create. Even a very weak government is going to be way too much for you. This is why you got all these stories. I implore you to look into this too. You get all these stories of like these nut jobs and these cult leaders that, you know, they got a few people together with some guns and they thought they're going to overthrow some weak government somewhere, and like they went to go do it, and then all it took was for one thing to go sideways, and then they all just got captured or clapped, or it didn't go well at all. It was like almost like meme-worthy levels of failure that went on there. Typically with those situations, there's been plenty of situations like that of people, like, I mean, all different time periods too, from like the 1800s all the way up to modern day. Like, there's been several attempts to like of stuff like that in South America. There's been shit like that going on in Africa. It never really works. It's never really worked before. Hardly ever. The only time it does work is if you're dealing with somebody that's like already entrenched in the government a little bit, or he's got like a lot of connections and shit like that. And see, that's like, they basically made themselves a little pseudo nation anyway. That's not even what we're talking about. But the point is, you're not going to overthrow no type of government, guys. Like, you're not going to be a hero. And then I got this other guy too that was saying, oh, well, we need to change people's incentives. We need to write some type of pamphlet and pass it around online and then get people to change their incentives. It's like, bro, ain't nobody trying to listen to you. No. Like, you don't understand how stubborn everybody is, especially right now. Ain't nobody trying to hear shit. Nobody's really arguing in good faith. What it is that they got some kind of bullshit, idiotic ideal in their head. And they're going to do whatever it takes to bring that idea into fruition. So they don't really care about the facts and logic. Nobody really cares about that. Humans don't care about facts and logic. Facts and logic don't move people. Emotions move people. So people get emotionally wound up and invested into ideas, and that's just what it's gonna be, man. There ain't nothing you can write. There ain't nothing you can say. There ain't nothing that your message can do, other than maybe influence some people here or there that were already preconditioned to believe your message. By the way, that's how that typically goes. Yeah. You see, like, you're not gonna sway people. You're not gonna change new incentives unless you got some power somewhere, which we already went through what it's gonna look like you achieving any kind of power in the world. And like, okay, let's say you do get some power. Okay, well, most nations, especially when you're talking about Western governments, can churn out tens of thousands of tanks and bullets and planes and aircraft carriers and, good God, man, and missiles, and you can't compete with that. Highly unlikely you're going to be able to compete with that. So I'm saying, though, you're not going to have the power to do it, and you're not going to convince people to do it, because people aren't interested in facts and logic. People are interested in their emotions. Guys, the long, bitter, sweet truth that I'm trying to convey in this video is that there is no solution. There is no personal solution to this systemic problem. This is a systemic issue. And you know what? I would say this systemic issue that we have going on in the world, where the world is going the way it's going, we're spiraling towards World War III currently, in case you didn't notice. There's fascism, like, literally coming up abrupt inside of the U.S. Republic. You know, are we going to get like a Roman Empire situation where Caesar takes over? Like, it seems now more likely than it ever was, you know? But you're not going to influence the course of what's happening in the world, guys. This is the point behind the monastic philosophy. The monastic philosophy says, okay, ignore all that shit. Ignore that. Just start gathering together people, up to 5 members that are on par with you. You guys start gathering resources. You guys build a little secret society where you are. Don't attract attention to yourself. Build something. Just build something. Raise your kids inside that new society. Insulate yourself from the world. Don't care about it. It doesn't matter what the rest of the world does. You're not going to influence it. You're going to just be sitting there stressing yourself out trying to influence it. You're not going to. If you try, you're going to die or end up in a jail cell somewhere. So, I mean, unless with smart people, there's been countless people who are a lot smarter than anybody thinking about doing that have tried and failed. What else do you want me to tell you? There is no solution. The only solution is to go monastic. Like, you need to build something that is not threatening to the powers that be, and that you just want to be left alone and you fuck off and, you know, build where you are. Build something that, you know, maybe it goes under the radar, and then you're able to have something there. You know, that's the only thing you can do. The only thing you can do is slice off a little swath of your own world and your own system. This is what the core of the monastic philosophy is about. We ain't trying to overthrow no government. We ain't trying to be no hero. We ain't trying to do none of that shit. Because you're not gonna succeed. You're just not gonna succeed. That's not even in the cards, bucko. The only people who could have fixed the way the world is going, they were around hundreds of years ago, and they failed, obviously. And maybe this is inevitable anyway, so, I mean, it's really useless to even speculate about it. So, and I mean, like, to throw on top of that, too, the difficulty of changing anything, changing people's minds, attaining power and this and that. Like, I know most of you guys really mean the U.S. government when you talk about specifically overthrowing the government. I know you guys are talking about the U.S. government. So let's throw away the scenario if you're trying to take over some African country. Okay, you're talking about the U.S. government, literally the most powerful government on the planet. You think you're gonna overthrow the U.S. government? I mean, the U.S. government is kind of overthrowing itself right now. But resource-wise, power-wise, influence-wise, bro, the U.S. has 11 aircraft carriers. Like, one aircraft carrier has more air power projection capability than entire nations. And they've got 11 of them. Not to mention the Air Force. Which, again, that's like a majority of what wins modern wars these days is air power. They've got the best of it, pretty much, by far. I mean, like, let's not even get into all the tanks and armored vehicles they've got in storage that they could pull out of storage and throw that shit at you. Like, guys, the U.S. government is more powerful than you could possibly. And let's not even talk about getting into like an actual full-blown conflict with the U.S. Like, yeah, I know there's some kinks they got to work out if they get in that scenario, but really and truly, that is not the government you want to have smoke with, really. I mean, it's not even going to get to that point. The U.S. don't even bother, really, to take most threats like that seriously from, like, little fringe terrorist groups. They'll just send a couple CIA agents after you. That's enough to deal with most of those. So, you know, you're talking about the most powerful government, let alone, but I'm just telling you, I'm just making sure y'all are aware of the fact that y'all couldn't even take over an African government, let alone the most powerful one. So anyways, I think I've made my point clear enough. This has been Emperor Dion the Lion. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't do nothing stupid. You know, this video definitely goes out to one individual in particular that got me thinking about this, but in case you needed to know that. And, you know, it'd be really stupid, too, for you to attempt to do anything and then you just, like, that's a waste of life. You're going to spend the rest of your life in jail or dead, or that's a waste of a life, dude. You could have been way better part of a monastic order, you know. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. Peace.